Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another fantastic episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. I'm your host, Bernadette. Joining me today is Vitelle. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. Did I pronounce your name right?
You did. And I'm loving the
Yay.
purple, girl. I'm loving the purple in
Oh,
there.
thank you. Thank you so much. I love your hair too. It's very flowy and freeing. It's amazing.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, where about are you joining us from?
So I am live from Washington, D.C. right now. I'm on a world tour. So I am live from the middle of the city right now. So excuse the background noises.
No,
Apologies.
it's all good. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. To start, can you tell us who are you and what is it that you do?
So, hello everyone. For those of you who do not know, I am Vitelle. I'm an actress, model, entertainer, founder of Us 3 Productions, and I am on a world tour right now with the show Nine Lives. If you have not heard about that, is a one-woman show that is all about helping people to heal from trauma. So, that is what I do. That's what I'm all about. All of my productions are centered around that. All of my books, everything that I do is about helping people to heal and making the world a better place.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing. So take us back. Where were you raised, and did you always wanted to do the work that you're doing right now?
I was raised a little bit of everywhere because I moved around a lot, but originally from Dayton, Ohio. And I've been based out of Atlanta since 2009. So I mostly claim Atlanta. um, but as far as wanting to do, I'm gonna let this vehicle pass before I get okay. So as far as if I've always wanted to do what I'm doing now, I still don't want to do what I'm doing now. Honestly, let's just get into that. So I know that I have a purpose and a calling on my life. I know what I'm gifted in, and I've learned to walk in that anointing, regardless of whether I want to do it or not. So I've always wanted to be an actress, though. That's something I've always wanted to do, and I've just always done that. I've always been acting, even long before I first hit the TV. So that's something that I've always wanted to do. But as far as what I'm doing right now, integrating the acting and the talent into what can it be used for kingdom building, that is different. That is not something that I had really thought about before, I guess. It's one of those things. I guess you're going to make the world a better place, but you just don't know how. And so I'm still learning and walking in it and growing in it every single day. So.
Thank you for sharing. I want to be an actress. I don't know if that will ever happen, but I'm doing what
It
I
can
can
happen
to
right
help.
now if you decide like you want to be an actress to start submitting for auditions. You're an actress officially as soon as you say
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Tell us more about your tour. You told us a little bit. What inspired you to start it and also the name of it? Tell us more.
Yeah, so the Nine Lives World Tour, this is it here. Um, what inspired me to start it is just telling my story. That's what I've always done. I wrote a book, published that, and I always tell my own personal testimony through my shows. But what really inspired it to become a one-woman show is the pandemic. So basically, in 2020, we had a whole pandemic. I think we were all there.
Yeah.
And that happened. So I wasn't able to do my shows like I normally do. I wasn't able to hire a team, staff, a casting call, and all of the different stuff that goes into doing these shows. So I had to play all the characters, including the camera person and everything else. So that's how it kind of became a one-woman show, is because out of necessity, and we didn't really have a choice. So just working with what I had and not letting anything stop me, and conforming to what needed to be done in order to adjust, made the adjustments like everybody else during that time, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's how the one woman show came to be. And so each of these characters that you see here
Mhm.
represents a different type of trauma, a different experience that I've had, everything from being homeless to mental health, suicide, depression, human trafficking, abuse, domestic violence, divorce, all of the things. That's what you see represented here. So when people come to see this show, they can find themselves in each character. You're going to relate to either one or all or some.
Mhm.
It's rarely ever none. But
Yeah.
that's this show. And so we've been on tour with it since 2020. I've been requested in a lot of different cities to come and perform it. And so this year in 2025, we decided, hey, we've done this show probably more than 50 times at this point. I don't know how many, we just lost count.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take it on a world tour. We're going to say, these are the cities that we're going to be in, 9 different cities, back to back to back. This is
Mhm.
when we're going to be there and this is where we're going to be. And that's what we're doing. And so we're right in the middle of this world tour. It's kind of the craziest thing I've ever done in my entire career. Not kind of, it literally is. So yeah, so we have all these states expecting us to show up. And so here we are in Washington, D.C., just got here yesterday. I'm overwhelmed. I haven't really got a chance to even
Yeah.
look around, take it all in because it's
Yeah.
like whole world tour we're getting ready for. So, but yeah, that's what Nine Lives is, and it's so important. Like it's really helping to change lives worldwide. We've been requested to Africa, Costa Rica. We're getting requests just all over the place. So I don't know where it's going to go from here, but I know that we're going to get through this tour and it's going to be
Yeah.
amazing and it's going to continue to change lives everywhere.
Yeah, wow. Thank you for sharing. That's incredible. So on the pictures, is that you dressing as a different aspect of what you've been through?
It is. So the characters are, this is all me, all different characters. They're all completely made up. They're not really based on a particular person. They're not based on anyone I know. It's just all came from God, came
Mhm.
together, wrote it down, threw out the wigs, you know, threw the spaghetti on the wall and made it stick. Okay. So that's how these came to be. So yeah, so that's the characters themselves, but the stories that they tell are all my different parts of my own story. So
Yeah.
they all represent me. They all represent you if you've been through any of these things. And you know, they're meant to represent everyone, but they are their own unique individual as well. And
Yeah, I
they're
love
all
that. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And that's the power of us sharing our stories. And
Mhm.
at times we're so scared to do that because of criticism, judgment, and because we're afraid of what people may think of us.
Yeah.
Have you had moments where you were scared of exposing or expressing certain characters? And how did you overcome that fear?
Absolutely. I believe that that is something that you have to do every single day. I'm doing it scared. I didn't wait until I wasn't scared anymore. I just
Yeah.
started making the steps and moving forward and let's see what happens. And so that, you know, we're human beings. There's nothing wrong with being afraid as long as you keep showing up and keep doing it. That's all you can really do. So when it comes to telling the story, I was definitely before publishing my first book, I was definitely afraid of what are the people going to say. And I would tell myself that I have to wait until these people that are involved with this story are, you know, gone from this earth, or I have to wait until, you know, something has to happen before I can tell my story. And I kept using that as an excuse, but it was really just fear. And once I recognized that that's what it was, you know, I had to also recognize that if God called me to do this, which I know that He did, then I should have nothing to fear because God's the one telling me to do it. So God's gonna protect me and He's gonna keep His angels around me and keep me safe through all of this. So that's what I have to trust in now. And so I'm not afraid of that aspect anymore, but I guess there's still the fear of the unknown. Like I literally just came to Washington, D.C., never been here in my life,
Yeah.
don't know anything about it. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
the unknown, you're just walking into like, I just know that this is where this show is, and God has me here on this date. And so that's what it's going to be. So we go into the places not knowing, sometimes not even knowing where the show is going to be held at. Like, where is it going to be held at? Where are we going to stay? How are we going to pay for everything? How are we going to feed the crew? How are we going to, like, all of these things kind of
Yeah.
fall on me. Everybody's
Yeah.
looking at me for the answers, you know, and I'm over here like, Lord, you gonna tell me so I can tell them because I don't, you know,
Yeah.
what we
Yeah.
doing? You know, so this is a huge faith walk. This whole show is a faith walk. I'm trusting God all the way, and He keeps showing out every single time. It's just amazing. So it gets easier. So when you talk about fear, it doesn't ever just go away and it's like, oh, I'm just fearless. Like I'm as fearless as they come, but I still have fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know, but I'm doing it anyway because I trust God and I know that it's something He's called me to do and He's going to make a way and He keeps doing it, so it gets easier each time.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Thank you for sharing. So you've been in many movies.
Mhm.
I've watched most of those shows. Tyler Perry, I Can Do Bad All by Myself.
Mhm.
and Drop Dead Diva. Oh,
Mhm.
Vampire's Diary. You guys, I binge watched that show. It was incredible.
I ain't
So
gonna lie, I
tell
never
us,
watched.
yeah.
It was, yeah.
Did you watch it and you
No,
watch yourself in there? No?
not at all.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible. So I'm assuming or guessing that you've met Tyler Perry.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
what was your experience working with him? He's one of my heroes. I could put it that way.
Yeah,
Based on his story, his background, and the incredible work that he's doing. Tell me, what
absolutely.
was your experience?
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that. He is the main reason why I chose to move to Atlanta over going to LA. Obviously I had those two options weighed, and he is someone that I definitely wanted to work with for sure because of his story and coming from the starting from the bottom, now we're here story. So
Yeah,
we all
yeah,
know. So it's like, and I had experienced homelessness myself, and it's very inspiring to see if he can do it, so can you. So just to have the opportunity to work with him and be around that type of energy. He's very focused and driven, and you can see that. And when you're a creative yourself, you can see that in people. It's kind of an unspoken thing. You
yeah,
just can be around them. You don't have to say anything. You just see their wheels turning. You see them constantly creating. You see if they're looking at you, you can see them casting you and stuff. Like,
yeah.
it's just there's that happening with him all the time. And
Mhm.
and it still encourages me to this day because as the CEO of my own production company now, there was, I guess, I won't call it a fear, but like a uncomfortableness with being the boss, and everybody's going to think you're bossy. And then, and I go into that mode, and I'm in director mode, and that's what happens. But when I saw him in director mode, I'm like, that's what I do. So that's
Mhm.
normal,
Yeah,
and I'm looking around and like, okay, nobody hates him for being the boss. They understand where he's at. So it
mhm.
gave me that comfort to know, okay, this is normal, and that's how I'm going to be, and just own it and go for it. So, there's a time and place for everything. Didn't necessarily make him a mean person or make people like him less. It just, they know he's focused. And then when it's over and it's cut and it's a wrap, then it's like, okay, cool, we're fun now. Like, so
Yeah.
that's the mindset that I have. So to see someone else operate in that when I've only experienced it with myself, I'm like, that's cool. Yeah, we're kindred spirits. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, hungry people. I'm
mhm,
hungry for everything. I want it
exactly.
all and I'm putting the work into it. That's what I see
Right.
in what you do and also in what Tyler Perry has done and continue to do. Um,
Absolutely.
Way before I even spoke English, I'm from Haiti. I was watching everything he was putting out and I was
Mm-hmm.
learning English from it as well. And now I'm speaking English. It
That's
doesn't change.
awesome.
It's so inspiring and uplifting. It doesn't change. Yeah.
That is awesome. And I love your accent, by the way.
Oh, I have an accent.
Yes, I love it.
People say I do have an accent. I
Hmm.
can't hear it, but I'm sure it's there.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's inspired so many people in a lot of different ways. And even still now, like I literally just posted something at 3 o'clock this morning on my stories, and I'm like, I think about the quote that he said in his last the documentary when he said that no one can outwork him. Like I literally took that as a personal challenge. I'm like, okay, I'll run circles around you. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
in a friendly, kind of competitive way. Yeah, so yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely outwork Tyler Perry. So just have my billions have not caught up to his billions, but it's getting there.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about trauma. How would you define trauma based on your own personal experiences?
So the way I define trauma is really anything that causes you to behave differently because of something that's happened to you. So a lot of times I think there's a misconception when it comes to trauma. People think that that has to be like someone died or something very serious happened, or, just the most severe thing that they can go to. But trauma can literally be something as simple as you stepping on a Lego, it hurt. From now on, you're going to make sure these kids pick these Legos up. It's something that changes your behavior because of your experience. It hurt you, it caused whatever negative emotion in you that you don't like, you don't want, and it changed you from that point on. So that's the way that I see trauma. And there's no real way to measure it or say there's, that there's levels to this. Someone else's trauma is bigger than the next because obviously I've been through a lot of traumatic experiences that a lot of people wouldn't survive or hadn't survived. But then other people have been through things that it doesn't make it any less traumatic for them because it doesn't seem as severe as mine,
Yeah.
so that's how I define trauma.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. What are some healing modalities that you've used to help you overcome all the traumas you've been through?
Oh man, that list is very extensive. But I'd say the biggest one for me right now, and I guess I'm still working on this one, is the self-care aspect. That is a huge part of your healing. I mean, just healing in general, you can't heal until you start focusing on yourself, loving yourself, and learning how to do that self-care. So, just the simple, starting with the simple things such as just eating right and getting sleep and drinking water, the things that I'm still, I'm a work in progress. Not always doing a good job with those. Or I'm working too much that I'm not sleeping, but I know what's necessary and I'm getting better each day. So yeah, just some stuff like that sometimes is where you start, and then just recognizing yourself and where you need healing, where do I fall short? Where are my trauma responses? So, and by trauma responses, I mean the way that I'm reacting to certain things that people say or do. My reaction is based on my trauma, and I have to be able to recognize that and say, okay, I just took this out on this person, even though it's coming from this other place. So being just self-aware is the biggest number one thing that you can do. And once you figure out what it is that you're doing wrong, then you can better figure out how to heal it. So that list could be,
Mhm.
just a million miles long. It can be anything. So just
Yeah.
recognize yourself is going to help you find the answer to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. My podcast tagline is healing together. That's
No,
it.
I
Because
love
I
it.
don't think we can do it alone. We may think we can, but good luck.
Right.
We need each other. And once we start to understand that together we can do more, then the
Hmm.
more that we can do together.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That. Oh,
And
wait.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you've talked about your faith. How
Mhm.
have you used your faith to heal trauma?
Oh yeah, I couldn't do it without that. There's no way I'd even be even trying right now. There's no way.
Yeah.
This is definitely a God thing. And when it comes to us three productions, I always say we're non-denominational. We operate in love.
Mm,
We believe scripture, but not everybody who comes along has the same Bible. We have Muslims, we have, everybody from all different backgrounds. It's not about religion, it's about the spirituality. We recognize where our power comes from and where our provision lies. And so every single thing that we're doing would not be possible without the Most High God, Yahweh, whatever you choose to call him, in whatever language you speak is irrelevant. It's just the point that we know. And so we have that personal relationship. And that's so important when it comes to this, because, yeah, there's no way I would be in a straitjacket right now instead of on a world tour if it was not for God. So
yeah.
I got to give credit where it's due. And I don't feel right taking credit for any of this, because even watching the Nine Live show, I will watch it for the 100th time and see something new every time. Like, what? Like, this is a whole new show every single time. And I'm the one who sat down and wrote it. I'm the one who's playing the characters. I'm the one, it almost feels like I wasn't even there. That's how much God had his hands all up in this and was doing this. And I'm just here to assist. So I have to make sure that I make that very clear, because when people come to this show and miracles take place and the power of God shows up, it's like, don't look at me. That is not me. I'm not doing this. So that's something that is recognized, on the spot when you know. That's what they say.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I love how humble you are. That's
Thank you.
that's very refreshing and inspiring because all of us are capable to be that way, but
Mm,
sometimes the ego gets in the way. So I love
yeah.
that about you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I can't take
Um,
credit for this.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. What are some books, podcasts, or music that has helped you? I know you're a writer as well and you do many things, but are there some other resources that helped you?
Absolutely. Like, first of all, I'm a I want to say graduate because I still haven't graduated yet until I get my wings. But YouTube University is where I go to school.
Me too.
Anytime I need to learn something or pick me up or any type of inspiration, it's YouTube or ChatGPT at this point in life. But yeah, so I definitely am inspired by other people. I think one of my biggest right now that comes to mind from the top of my head, and some of my followers watching behind the scenes know this, is PMJ, Pastor Mike Jr. At Rock City Church in Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama. He is definitely, he's so in the vein with what we have going on with us three productions, and he doesn't even realize it yet. And I need him to realize it. So y'all tag him. um, like when I tell you like his sermons every week are like, why is he saying exactly what I be saying in my meetings? Like he be a fly on the wall in my meetings. Like I don't like, it's just we're so in the vein. I know that it's nothing but God, because God will give a lot of people the same message. It's just how many of them will go forth with it, how many of them will trust that that was God, how many of them will, and it takes somebody bold enough to come out and say what they're going to say regardless of what anybody's going to think, in order for somebody else who heard that same message to say, God told me that too. Like, so it's, there's that connection there. So it's so important to have those mentors and those people that you connect with, that you look up to, that help you to be the person that God created you to be in the first place. And we're all helping each other to do that. We're all inspiring and encouraging each other on whatever level we're on in life. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a big
definitely. Yeah, yeah. What would you say to little girls or young men? They're so cute when they wear the little tie and babies are just cute. What would you say to the next generation that wants to do exactly what you want to do?
Don't grow up. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, teenagers that want to do exactly what I'm hmm, that's a good question. I'm hesitating on it because I want to give a thorough answer. And when you say what I'm doing,
Mm,
define that, because if they want to be an actress, it's a completely different advice than if they want to
mm,
in their
yeah.
purpose life God has called them to do. That's
Yeah.
two different answers. So,
Yeah,
so
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
guess it would be kind of the same advice. It would just be to know what God has called you to do, like really to develop that relationship with Him so that because honestly, if you're going into acting or entertainment career, modeling, whatever it is that you're wanting to do, if you're going into that because you want to be rich, because you want to be famous, because whatever, dumb intentions that we usually have these days, if you're going into that reason, it's not going to last long. You're going to get worn out. You're going to get burned out. You're going to waste years of your life trying to pursue something that's not even really for you. So I think it's so important that you get that one-on-one time with God and say, and know what your magic is. Like I love that word magic because it just makes you think like something that's not even real and supernatural, but that's
Yeah.
what the spiritual world feels like. It's like, oh my gosh, this is beyond my natural state right now. So when you find your magic that God's already put in you, then that's when you know, okay, I'm meant to do this. So there is no amount of setback and exhaustion and sleepless nights. That drive is so real because it's been put in you, rather than I'm going to go make some money. And then you realize I can make money another way. That's not going to ever be enough to drive you. You have to walk in purpose at the end of the day. So that would be my advice, to tap into that, to know that you're walking in purpose. And then you cannot fail, because if God's called you to it, He's going to see you through it. And that's it. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So you're a mom. I'm a
Mhm.
mom. What advice do you have for us moms to hold on to our dreams, to
Mhm.
not let it go, to take care of ourselves? Because when most of us, once we have kids, that's it.
Yeah,
Me,
absolutely.
I woke up like this.
Yeah,
Right? That
I did it.
yeah, we just let go of our
Yeah.
dreams, visions and passions. I refuse to do that. I know
Yes.
not everyone is in the same place and space. So
Hmm.
give us
Exactly.
some advice.
Yeah, because you're right. Like it takes a really strong person to push through that. And a lot of times it is our kids that drive us. It's like, I have to make the future better for them. So I have to do this, even if it means sacrificing everything that I am. And, you go for it so hard when it comes to having your kids. So I really would advise to the moms to use that as your fuel rather than as your excuse. That it's never an excuse. there's always a way. And especially as a single mom, that is, it takes a village to raise a child. And so when you're a single mom, and then especially when you're, either estranged or separated from your family by distance, and you don't have any help at all with the kids, then it's like, okay, you feel stuck. You feel like, what do I do? How can I do these auditions? How can I do these things if I don't have anyone to keep the kids? But you figure out a way.
Yeah.
Like it goes back to what I was saying before. If it's God's will, He's going to make a way for it to happen. But you have to be determined and not just throw in the towel. Like it's your free will that will make you give up. So just stay determined, stay focused, no matter what, and just knowing, again, if it's a matter of if and not when, it might not be until your kids are grown and moved out. I just got my second one just turned 18. Now I'm about to have two moved out. I'm like, okay, I'm really about to be free. I'm really about to be doing something, So,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just a matter of time, honey. You just keep
Yeah.
on pushing and hold on to that and just do what you can while you can. And don't let anything be an excuse, not even the kids. Let them be your drive and your passion, the reason why you do it.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. So talk to us about mental health. I'm diagnosed with however many labels they put on me. It's
Right.
not who I am. I'm more than
Exactly.
that.
That
And
part.
I've been advocating. I'm a massive advocate for mental health and many other topics as well. I'm
Mhm.
schizophrenic, and I'm not ashamed to share it
You were
because
diagnosed with schizophrenia. You're not schizophrenic. You were
yeah,
diagnosed with schizophrenia.
yeah, and
We got to change our wording.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
big
you're
on
right.
wording.
You're right. Yes, yes. And there are so many people that are waiting to just
Mhm.
hear any types of words of encouragement or someone's story.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm doing what I do. Tell me,
Exactly.
what is your experience and what are some words of wisdom and empowerment you have for those struggling?
Well, honestly, I feel like you just demonstrated it right there. You just said everything that's needed to know. First of all, somebody needs to hear your story who has also been diagnosed with schizophrenia. I
Yes.
have not been diagnosed with that, so I can't relate to those people. So someone needs your specific story, your specific testimony. All I can do is empathize, but it hits
Yeah.
different when someone that they have gone through that. And also changing your wording, like that's something that I've been working on constantly. In the same way I
Yeah,
just
me
kind of
too.
corrected you, I correct
Yeah.
myself constantly. I can't tell you how many
Yeah.
times during the day I'll be like, "No, girl, don't say that." Like,
Yeah.
it takes so much practice, especially when you come up, and that's just how we're trained to talk. That's just the
Yeah.
norm. I have this, I got this, and so every time I literally was just talking about this morning, so that's how I know this is all a part of God's right now. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and say it. What we was just talking about this morning, I have literally every single time I've gotten any diagnosis in my family. For example, my son getting diagnosed with asthma. He is not asthmatic. He does not have asthma. They told me something that I need to be aware of in his flesh right now that is ailing him. And now we need to figure out what we need to do to fix it. But the biggest part of fixing that, aside from whatever medication they could give him, is going to be my faith and my wording on how we get this thing up out of here. So
Mm.
whatever it is that we're dealing with right now and that we're diagnosed with at the moment,
Yeah.
we're not claiming it. We might, thanks for bringing my attention to that. Now I know what to pray about. Okay, that's how that's how I deal with everything that is comes at you. And so often, like especially when you get those big diagnoses, the big C, for example,
Yeah.
immediately your mind goes to, this is now what I have. You have completely accepted what the doctors just told you and just let that just soak all in, and just that is a natural form, that it is so hard for humans to believe the opposite of what we're physically given.
Yeah.
But it takes practice. And when you start to see God work miracles, like the fact that my son was diagnosed with asthma and he had it for all of a good few weeks, I let him go ahead and take that little inhaler for a minute for a good few weeks while thing up out of here. And he has never been on an asthma again. He was in the hospital with the whole tubes and everything going on.
Wow.
Never again since that. After that, we got that thing going. It's never come back. He's never experienced that again. Anything sciatica, I was diagnosed with sciatica, like the depression, all these things. I could easily, even as I'm telling my testimony now, I could easily say that, claim that I'm suicidal, I'm depressed, like all these things that I was diagnosed with. No, I've experienced that,
Mm.
but I am no longer, that is not who I am. And I no longer experience that, because now I help other people to overcome it. But because I experienced that, that's why I'm able to do what I do.
Yeah. 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 I agree. Yeah.
So I look at it as a great thing. It was a great experience while it lasted. not going back there. Okay. So, it's when we just begin to embrace it. My depression, my bipolar, my this, my that. No, we have to change our whole mouth. And when we change our mouth, then the physical realm starts to change too. The Bible says we can speak to mountains and they move. So why do you think you can't move whatever this little thing is that's not even as big as a mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way
Yeah.
I look at it.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I was talking to a friend and she watched my first video on schizophrenia and I've been doing different series of it. She said, "Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing." Because I
Yeah.
have one of my best friend has this. And now I can
Hmm.
just give my friend your channel to
Hmm.
watch. And they've watched it and it
Exactly.
was helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, God allowed you to go through that experience because he trusted that you were going to get through it and not rest in it and give it to somebody else to help them not rest in it too. That's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
You're on a mission now. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah. Because sometimes it's so hard to see hope, even
Hmm.
though it's around us. Because when we're hurting so much, uh, we think it's the end of the world. There's,
Yeah. And we think we're dealing with it alone too. Like we think we're the only ones going through this, and that is not the case, which is
yeah.
why it's so important that people have to speak out because then that's the only way people can know they're not alone.
Yeah, yeah. And I tell people when they speak, you better believe you're gonna lose people. People,
Oh,
even family members.
mm,
I'm a lone wolf, right?
yeah.
I appreciate people.
Gotta
I
be.
don't need people.
Yeah.
They're not my God. They don't put breath in my lungs every day. They're not controlling my heartbeat unless they have to. But I just do me, right? And not everyone is at that place. I
Mhm.
pray and hope people can find that kind of peaceful love and acceptance within themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, being in your position, it is a lonely place, being just a leader in general, but then knowing that God has a purpose and a calling on your life, a lot of times it has to be just you and God. And then once you reach that place where you're not afraid to lose people, he'll start to send people to help with the mission and to help with the cause. I have an amazing team now. I always have to shout them out anytime I do these interviews. This interview wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for my amazing team behind the scenes, lining them up, making it happen. So, I thank God that I had to come to a place though where I was willing to lose whoever because I know this is between me and God. And then God started to send the people that were supposed to stay. And I'm still to this day, if I had to let somebody go, then that it is what it is. It's not, it's nothing personal. I just have to be about my father's business. So if you're not going to be about the same business that we're about, then it's not going to work. So,
Yeah.
and you have to get in a comfortable place to make those adjustments. We don't experience bigger until we let go of the smaller.
Yeah.
Anytime, like I just got in a car accident not too long ago. I've been saying I wanted a Ford Expedition, black. I got the whole vision in my mind. I'm ready for it. And so I can't be surprised if my car got totaled because I got to put some things out the way for this Ford Expedition.
Um,
I had to go through that process. And I'm like, oh, my car got totaled. And I want to, cry. And oh my gosh, Lulu, that was her name. And so I just, I want to go through that whole process of mourning and being sad. And now I'm carless and I got to figure this out and all the stress that comes along with that. But I'm like, wait a minute, I know better than that. God has to close this door for it to open because I know what I said I wanted. So here come my
yeah.
SUV. Where it's at, I'm just waiting for it to appear now, and it's coming. So just watch, y'all. Watch my Facebook and stuff. Y'all see me posting it soon because it's
Yeah.
coming. Mark my words. But
Well,
yeah,
I'm
you
glad you're okay
let
from the
go.
accident.
Yeah, I am. Thank God. It
Yeah.
definitely could have been worse.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Is there anything that I haven't asked you? Anything you want to share with my audience and with me?
I don't know. You can't leave it up to me because we'll be talking words. But I don't think so. I think you got some really good questions and you hit the nail on the head several times. That's where I'm happy about that.
Yeah, awesome.
All I would close out with is just make sure that y'all get your tickets to the next Nine Lives because we have several more cities coming up. We're in Washington, D.C. this coming weekend. I don't know when this is going to air exactly, but
Mhm.
this Saturday, April 5th, is that the 5th? 8th, 5th. Yeah, April 5th. Lord,
Yes,
all
yeah.
together. So this Saturday, April 5th, we are in Washington, D.C. with 9 Lives. And then after that, we're headed off to Houston, Texas. Then we have Nashville, Tennessee, Boston, Massachusetts, and Bowling Green, Kentucky. So we're halfway through this tour already. There's not many cities left, but you can go ahead and get your tickets, get over to the nearest city near you, and do not miss it. Because I don't know what's going to happen with this show after this tour is over, but you don't want to miss this part of what's happening right now. So go to Eventbrite, get your tickets to 9 Lives World Tour. Don't
That's
miss it.
awesome. Are you coming to Canada eventually? That's where I am.
Um, I cannot confirm or deny that because, like I said, we have been requested in a lot of different cities. So if you are requesting us to Canada, then we will put that on our mental list and go to God with it. And if you tell us to come to Canada, then I can't say no.
Yeah.
I officially cannot say no to him.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it would be awesome. So, for people who are not in the States, on your website or channels, do you give
Mhm.
people a little glimpse of the show?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely encourage people to follow me on all your social media and everything because yeah, we try to go live behind the scenes. I post to my stories constantly, especially when we're on this tour. Excuse me.
Yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, so as we're on this tour, I post into my stories all the time. And people are really following the journey whether they can make it to the show or not. So it's very encouraging and inspirational. So I definitely just recommend y'all connect with me on all the social
Mhm.
media platforms.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I have a few questions for you as we wrap up. The
Okay.
first one is, which I ask every guest, what is the meaning of life for you?
The meaning of life. Ooh, that's kind of a loaded question.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to answer that. Is there a meaning? Hmm. I have never been asked that in an interview before. You got me stumped right now. Huh. I wouldn't call it a meaning. I would say a purpose more than anything. If you ask me what the purpose of life is,
Yeah.
because I'm walking in my purpose and I feel like my life is for others. And I think Jesus was the best representation of that. He literally was born to die for us. Like that's the whole reason he existed. So I look at our lives the same way, like not that we're born to be literally crucified, but to crucify ourselves in the flesh and be present for everyone else and what God's purpose is here on our life. And that can be different. That's going to be different for everybody. It's up to us to figure out what that purpose is for our individual selves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I hope that answers that question.
Oh, it does. There's the thing with that question
You
is no
won't
right or
understand the
wrong.
meaning till we get there. I got a lot of questions I'm gonna ask God when we get there. That's gonna be one of what is the meaning here? Like, but until then, I'm just gonna keep walking in the purpose. Okay.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. So is that your website that I'm seeing over there where the name is
Yes,
supposed to be? Okay.
yes.
Where
Vitelle
else
dot.
saw you?
So if you go to Vitelle.net, that connects you to all my social media platforms, and you can just search for Vitelle, Vitelle.net at the bottom of the screen here. And yeah, that connects to all my social media platforms. So Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all of the things. I can't keep up with them anymore, but I'm on all of them.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Vital, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Thank you for all you do. Keep empowering, inspiring, and uplift each other. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you, and you have a great day. Hopefully, I'll see you in Canada soon.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.